Alright, this is a tricky one to cover because I'm trying to actually put 4 words into this one because I found that they actually have a lot of similarities to them, and they actually all kind of refer to what I would say semantically or in terms of making some sort of clarification here. Each of these is a certain way of regarding the concept of God and regarding God in general, you could say. And these words are agnosticism, Ignosticism, that's with an I at the beginning, Apatheism, and Antitheism. I guess the first one might be agnosticism because of the fact that, again, it has a similar design or whatever. Agnosticism and agnosticism have a common factor of the word gnosis, which implies something of secret knowledge, but in the general sense you could just say it's knowledge of God, which is a special sort of knowledge anyway. But there's the clarification. Of course, agnosticism has a tricky little position to say, and it says that you could argue it states almost a Socratic kind of thing. The only thing we know about God is that we really know nothing. Although that would suggest that God actually has some sort of relevance to agnostics, which it doesn't. The term God is so patently vague in their view. My own view, I'm pretty much an agnostic in that respect. The whole term God is so vaguely and defined in so many different ways that all we really know about God is that there are hundreds of definitions of this term, including some that don't even make God a personal deity in the sense that it actually has some sort of cogency or something. And of course, agnosticism, there are actually 2 forms of it, I believe. One of them is simply kind of a methodological position, kind of like skepticism, where it says that you should never make some sort of assertion about the existence of God because it's impossible. But then there's the distinction that I'm finding it. I'm very quickly going to the Wikipedia article, which actually makes the distinction, I believe, if I can fucking find it. Okay. Yeah. There are types of agnosticism. It's almost a similar distinction with strong and weak atheism. Strong agnosticism says that, yeah, there's really no way we can know whether God exists, but the weak agnosticism says, well, there's no reason to believe that we can know God exists, so screw it, kind of thing. But I guess that's the only distinction, but I'm thinking of skepticism, that little distinction. I might have that on one of my lists, if I can find it. Skepticism might be my next one. It's a fun little topic to talk about, too, along with all the other ones I've been talking about. I don't know where I'm going to find a picture for this one, but just bear with me with picking out those things. I've already talked about agnosticism, but if we're going to make the distinction there, agnosticism actually views the term God as significant, whereas agnosticism says the term is too vague. Now we have the last 2, apatheism and antitheism. Of course, you can already tell that apatheism has a derivation from apathy, and the word itself, if I know my even basic Greek, it means without pathos, without emotion, kind of, that you don't really regard it as something. It's kind of similar to agnosticism, actually, except agnosticism says the term is so vague that unless we can define it, we can't really make any claims about it. Apatheism simply says that it's similar to agnosticism again, but agnosticism is the only one that really makes the claim that the term God is hardly able to be defined, but everyone else has an idea that God is defined in this way, particularly. Apatheism, I would think, views God. It's something powerful and has some sort of influence, or that's if it exists. But apatheism says, well, it doesn't matter, because whether God exists or not, it's a area of our knowledge that basically says that, yeah, it's not relevant to human affairs because of the fact that it's a transcendent being, and if God doesn't exist, then all the better for us, perhaps, because we don't have to actually consider the question at all. But, but if we have well, it's also called pragmatic atheism, that you behave as if gods don't exist, or God doesn't exist. But if we have the apatheism in the basic sense, it basically regards God as, something inconsequential to human existence and inconsequential to our general considerations. And then, of course, antitheism, while there is the possibility of defining it in terms of understanding of anti that says before, it's difficult to claim that you can that there was a point at which people didn't believe in God. In that sense, if we're talking about that way, then antitheism would simply be more like animism, where you believe that there are spirits within everything. But antitheism doesn't really like the supernatural at all, you could argue. But if it's antitheism in the sense that it's against God, then antitheism is it's what atheism, so to speak, is actually portrayed as in the media as antitheism, because unfortunately everybody perceives that every atheist apparently hates God and says that the whole concept of God is reprehensible and just disgusting or something. But that's not necessarily the case here, because of the fact that there's that distinction. Atheism would mean without or just simply not a believer in God, whereas antitheism says, well, they don't like the concept of God in all definitions, or they don't like the believers in God. Either way, antitheism is certainly something that could be said to be more opposed, because it manifests possibly bigotry or hatred. But there we go. I managed to get 4 freaking terms in here in just a little over 6 minutes. Anyway, see you guys later. This is the last one for today, because I've got shit to do.